Are you planning a motorcycle trip to Colorado? Maybe visiting Rocky Mountain National Park and the National Forest all around it? Oh, we need to talk. This is my 25th year of living and motorcycling here in northern Colorado, and I can tell you, this is a great place to ride. It is awesome. Also, as a tour guide in Rocky Mountain National Park, I spend a lot of time up in the mountains, talk to a lot of people, and I've gotten to know these really special places that are not in the guidebooks, and I'm going to be sharing those with you today. Now, you and I know that when we take a trip by motorcycle, really anywhere, the real fun of any trip, any vacation, begins not necessarily when we reach the destination, but it begins when we back the bike out of the garage. We're so lucky, we are, as riders, that the fun begins right away. And that's what you'll find when you ride these destinations that I'll be describing. Cool places that are a whole lot of fun to ride to. And oddly, these places are relatively unknown, and I don't know why necessarily. But be ready to take some notes today, because I'll be sharing with you some of my favorite hidden cafes, porches, coffee shops, and maybe a couple of surprises, all to be found in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. Well, without further ado, I'm ready when you are. So let's go. Thank you so much for joining me today. Recorded in beautiful Loveland, Colorado. Welcome to Peace, Love, Moto, the podcast for motorcyclists seeking that peaceful, easy feeling as we cruise through this life together. Are you ready? Let's go. If you haven't already checked out the website called motocoffeestops.com, that's motocoffeestops.com, you may want to check it out. It's on that website that I developed a couple of years ago that I started listing some of my favorite coffee shops and really fun motorcycle routes, including the maps to get to them. There's one coffee shop that I'll be describing today that's not yet on the website, but I promise I'll get that added as soon as I can. Now, most of these places I'll be describing, few people seem to know about. And like I said, I'm not really sure why, but that's kind of a good thing for you and me. These are some of the hidden spots, these small cafes within log cabins on little bitty roads next to a river or a public porch with just unbelievable views of a lake below and snow-capped mountains above. And family-owned and operated coffee shops where the baristas enjoy having a conversation with you while they make your caramel latte. All of these off the busy tourist route. These are an opportunity to ride through the most beautiful and uncrowded locations and meet the friendly locals over a meal or a cup of coffee. These are some of my favorite destinations. So here's the thing. We need to kind of keep this our little secret because we don't want the word to get out and it get too crowded out there. But just our little special places here for our Peace, Love, Moto community. I dedicated 3 previous episodes to travel tips for Rocky Mountain National Park and the surrounding national forest. Now, those are episodes 21, 22, and 23. A lot of good information there. I would recommend beginning there with those because that's where I share the when, the where, and the how details. For example, when is a great time to visit Rocky Mountain National Park in midsummer? Well, I always recommend visiting about 2 weeks after the July 4th holiday and visiting on a Monday through Thursday. Now, why July? Well, that's when the highest elevation roads will be fully open, just about guaranteed, such as Fall River Road and Trail Ridge Road. So for the 2024 season, that would be starting on Monday, July 15th. And there are lots and lots of things to do outside the national park too. Visit those on a Friday through Sunday. So visit the park on the less busy days, such as Monday through Thursday. Okay, now, so that's a hint. But yeah, check out episodes 21, 22, and 23 for details. The core of the whole thing is to avoid crowds. All right? Avoid the crowds, and so go on those days. So I'll begin with my favorite coffee shop right here in Loveland, Colorado. It's called Jamocha Joe's, and it's owned by a friend of mine named Christine. She is wonderful. This self-proclaimed soul center of the universe, this phrase that they use, Jamocha Joe's is a genuine hippie shack. Just park your bike in front and step up to the window to order your specialty coffee or a smoothie or get a snack. Then the fun part is to go and relax in those 1970s vintage seats that are underneath this huge shade tree. Oh, now that's how to enjoy the afternoon. Okay, let's make sure that we have a full tank of gas now, and let's start riding up into the mountains. Mountain Meadow Cafe is in Allens Park, Colorado. It's just off of the peak-to-peak highway to the south of Estes Park in a relatively hidden little road called Business Route 7, not to be confused with the main route, Highway 7, which runs parallel to it. Now, the peak-to-peak highway, by the way, is just like it sounds. It's just completely amazing. This high-altitude road is so much fun to ride on a motorcycle. Be sure to prepare for cooler weathers way up there because the weather and temperatures in general, it can change really quickly. So be prepared for that. Some of these snow-capped mountains that you'll see off to the west actually make up the Continental Divide. So yeah, this is a really, really cool route. As for the cafe, it's in this old cabin right next to a little river called Willow Creek. The sign on the front door says it all, really. It says, "This is not fast food. Rest and relax." Oh, I love that. I want to share with you a review that I read recently about Mountain Meadow Cafe. It said, in all caps by the way, "Awesome cinnamon rolls, good food, nice people, warm rustic mountain atmosphere." Now that was just the subject line, so let me read the rest of this if you don't mind. This is a small mountain restaurant in Allens Park, Colorado, about 30 miles away from Estes Park, by the way. It goes on to say, "I love restaurants, just like Mountain Meadow Cafe. Small, quaint, has some soul, owned and operated by a family for 3 generations. People who are friendly and care about the food that they cook and the people that they serve. It's a funky interior and maybe seats a couple of dozen visitors. So you'll have to wait, but be patient. It's worth the wait." And by the way, they put that in all caps too. And yep, that's been my personal experience too. I've had breakfast and lunch there over the years, and it's just fantastic. The food is certainly great, but it's the atmosphere and the service that I especially appreciate. From a motorcycling standpoint, yes, as I described, getting to Allens Park from really any direction is really a beautiful experience. Now, as for parking a motorcycle, well, hey, this is part of the adventure too, just trying to park. There's no real parking out there, you might say. It's just kind of a dirt slope, which as you know, is a little bit difficult for motorcycling. So be careful to pick your spot. And yeah, you can just leave your bike in gear and you should be fine. You should be absolutely fine too with leaving your helmet, your jacket, and everything out there. It's perfectly safe, at least in my experience. And next is Salto Coffee in Nederland, Colorado. That's spelled S-A-L-T-O. Yeah, that's a strange name, but this is another hidden gem. It's at the end of one of the small back streets in the hippie village of Nederland. Dirt roads in this part of town. Yeah, it's very, very cool too. It's in a building that's styled like a barn, and it shares this space with a mountain bike shop. So you got all of that combination together, which is just so cool. Salto is not only just a coffee shop, but it makes a wonderful meal as well. Unique food, including pastries and stuff. Salto is a female-owned business with a very, very hippie vibe inside. I love their motto, too, for the business. It says, "When we bring people together over great food or a perfect espresso, our cup is full." That, to me, really shows the heart of the owner. I love that. When we bring people together, our cup is full. Yeah, that's really great. This is designed as a gathering place, and I certainly have felt welcome over the years as I've been there. They do care about people, and that means a lot. Okay, let's cross the Continental Divide to the west side, or as we call it, over to the western slope, for a couple more spots that are surprisingly hidden. A lot of people just don't seem to know that they're there. The Grand Lake Lodge, surprise, is in Grand Lake, Colorado. It's the porch that does it for me. It's the porch. Find a seat on the porch and look just straight ahead, and you'll see Grand Lake and the village right down below you and snow-capped mountains above and all around you. Just sit here as long as you want. There's no charge. What's kind of fun, honestly, is watch the tourists coming from sea level as they struggle to climb those steep stairs. I shouldn't laugh. Hey, I remember what it was like when my family and I moved out here. We could hardly breathe at this altitude. But yeah, it is fun to watch. As far as getting to Grand Lake, through late spring, summer, and most of fall, you can actually cross Rocky Mountain National Park on Trail Ridge Road, coming east to west from Estes Park. Or if you're coming from the west, like areas like Winter Park or Granby, just take the road heading toward Rocky Mountain National Park, and before you get to the park entrance, you'll see a small sign off to the right for Grand Lake Lodge. The Rocky Mountain Repertory Theater is located in the village of Grand Lake. It's hard to believe that that such a small and remote town has such a talent within it. It's just hard to believe. My wife and I have seen any number of musicals like Hello Dolly and The Sound of Music in that area. The Rep, as they call it, is very rich in history, dating actually back to the 1960s. Now, these actors and musicians are real pros, so be sure to make it a point to take in a show while you're over there, and maybe even plan to spend the night. Now, I've already mentioned the Grand Lake Lodge. Honestly, I've not stayed there before, but my wife and I have stayed at a place called the Gateway Inn, which is just really nearby. It, too, has a wonderful porch, so I personally recommend the Gateway Inn. So let's wrap up with another great coffee shop. This was called the Rocky Mountain Roastery, and it's actually in Granby, Colorado. So Granby is also on the western slope, and it's actually very near Grand Lake. I like visiting this coffee shop because the people working behind the counter, they're just wonderful, and it's a beautiful little shop with a really, really nice setting. There, you can carry on a conversation over your vanilla latte or whatever you order. One time when I was there on my motorcycle, I came in and I noticed this just most beautiful song that was playing over their stereo system. And the first thing that I did was ask the barista about it. And that launched into the most wonderful conversation about the meaning of that song that she actually knew. That just made my day. I think I rode maybe 300 or 400 miles that particular day, but it was that half hour that I spent at the little coffee shop. It was that conversation that I most remember. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little visit today. You know, there's lots of these hidden gems out there that I'll be sharing with you in the near future. And if you want to learn more or want to share your favorite spots that you enjoy riding to, just drop me a line. My email is ron@peacelovemoto.com. I've so enjoyed our chat today. I hope you did too. Thank you so much for listening. So until next time, I wish you peace. I wish you love.